The next step in the manure spill response plan process is contacting the authorities. Now, a lot of folks figure, well, it's best to just sweep it under the rug, ignore it. If nobody finds out about it, it really didn't happen. The challenge is that if somebody else sees it, whether driving down the road or drone flight, ultralight, whatever, and reports it first, that's where your problems are going to occur. Remember, it's always best for you to report something than to have a neighbor or a concerned citizen call in and report something. So when you call the agency to make that report, sometimes it's your responsibility as the manure hauler, sometimes it's the farmer's. You need to be prepared. Just like when you communicated with your supervisor earlier, the agency is going to be asking some very particular questions. What happened? How much manure spilled? Did it get into surface water? Is there an impact to human life, to fish life, etc.? What have you done to deal with the situation? Being prepared to answer those questions is going to make you seem much more professional and make that reporting process much easier. The next step in the manure spill response plan process is to clean up the spill itself. Now, this is where your professional judgment and the judgment of your supervisor are really going to come into play. Let's say, for example, that you spill some manure on the road. Well, obviously, the best thing I can do in that case is probably scoop up as much of it as possible with a skid steer, with a shovel, etc. But that can create two problems. One is that if I wash the rest of that off into the road ditch, it could lead to a secondary fish kill or another problem, or leaving it on the road after I've scraped it might make that road slicker for motorcycles. So always be thinking about the consequences of the actions you take. Likewise, if I had a manure spill in a waterway like this, if it's a liquid manure, I'm going to employ that 3-dam strategy. If it's a solid manure, probably 1 is going to be sufficient, but I want to make sure that I contain that before it gets down to an actively flowing stream. If manure is actually in a stream, then I'm going to use that multiple dam strategy, but I may be working with the regulatory agency to make sure that those dams are not creating an additional problem, and removing those later is not going to create an additional problem as well. Finally, if I were to have a manure spill in a field, one of the things I'm going to think about is what was my target application rate to the acre. Maybe the best thing to do is to scoop up part of that manure, land apply it so the total rate over the area is at or less than what I was supposed to be applying to. The final step in the manure spill response plan is to document what you did right. Now, this is going to start with pulling out your smartphone. Once you've got the situation under control, you're beginning that cleanup, take out your camera, document what happened, document the positive steps that you took in order to prove that you did things the right way, and then afterward, once again, document that you actually restored that site to its original condition. Now, each state is going to be a little bit different. Each regulatory agency, some are going to want a written report within 5 days, some within 30 days, but having that information, those photographs, and a written record of what you did when are going to make filling out that paperwork process much, much easier.